Well, it's really hard because, first of all, I think it's absolutely correct to make this a major issue. This might be one of the most important legacy issues historically because ISIS can come and go, and hopefully they will go, and various other things will happen. But the situation with respect to climate change is continuing to progress in a bad direction. The challenge is people in the country don't seem to get energized about something that seems so far out in the future. They don't seem to understand that, countries like Kiribati and the Marshall Islands are already worrying about being inundated by the Pacific Ocean and trying to relocate their populations, and the situation is going to continue to get worse. So I think it's an important first step. Right now, unfortunately, the mood in the country, though, is not one where most people are energized about this. It is almost as though, and I don't wish this, but it is almost as though we need to have a disaster before we can convince people that we need to move forward in the area of climate change. Now, my hope is, as the political season of the election calms down and we have a new president coming in, that person will be able to move forward to some more concrete steps. But right now, frankly, I don't think most people in the country really care about these issues.
Well, George Little, Tony Arend brings up a question that we alluded to in the introduction, and that is the nexus between, domestic politics and foreign policy or international issues such as climate change. And we know very well that many candidates running for president on the Republican side simply don't even acknowledge global warming is a real issue. So how do you see the climate change deal, even though it isn't a U.S. policy per se, but presumably, and I believe it's true, that the United States was a leader in these Paris talks, and of course it is a priority for President Obama. Can this go forward if a Republican is elected?
You're absolutely right. It is a major achievement for President Obama. We weren't necessarily front and center in Paris, but the U.S. did play a significant role. And you're absolutely right, too, that many on the Republican side have strongly criticized climate change views and this agreement. I think that's an indication of what Tony pointed to earlier, and that's public opinion throughout the United States, which is mixed at best on the climate change issue. But I do think at the end of the day that this will be seen by historians as probably the most important international environmental agreement of the past generation. And yes, there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of I's to be dotted and T's crossed, and it could fall apart. But at the end of the day, it is a major achievement, and I hope that if there is a Republican president in 2017, that they don't roll it back. That's a distinct possibility if a Republican is elected, but I do think that it would be a mistake.